With the off-season being fully underway now and the 2020 NBA season officially coming to a close, there's no more basketball to be played until next season begins, so now is the perfect time to shift into off-season centric content, and by that, I mean it's time to rank some players. If you've been following along here on the channel, you'll know that the last few videos I've been putting out have been my official rankings of the best players in the league by position, and today we'll be continuing on in that series. We've gone through the point guards, shooting guards, and small forwards already, so today we'll be moving on to the 10 best power forwards. Before we get started though, it turns out about 82% of you watching the videos aren't even subscribed to the channel, so please, if you like the content we put out, consider subscribing, because not only does it help the channel out a ton, but I would also very much appreciate it. Now with that being said, let's begin. Before we get into the top 10, I first want to name some honorable mentions that just missed the cut, and the players in this category are Blake Griffin, Kevin Love, Draymond Green, and Jonathan Isaac. First with Griffin, just a few short seasons ago, he was one of the best players at this position, but the reason why he's only an honorable mention now for me is because of the fact that injuries have taken such a huge toll on him. He missed almost the entirety of last season, and in the games that he did play, he kinda looked awful and had what was easily his worst season as a pro. With Kevin Love, he's still a very solid player at the position, but he is starting to get up there in age and isn't quite as good as he once was. Regarding Draymond, he's always been held in high regard throughout his tenure with the Warriors because of his ability to excel at doing the little things to hold their great teams together, but without Steph and Clay this season, he struggled mightily, and this year definitely tanked some of his stock because of the fact that he wasn't able to step his game up in their absence. And lastly, Jonathan Isaac is someone that definitely should climb up the rankings in the very near future because of his defensive potential being through the roof, but he's another guy who was hurt by injuries last season, so we just didn't see enough to put him higher at the moment. Now, to start off at the bottom of the list and work our way up to the number 1 spot, at number 10, we have Tobias Harris of the Philadelphia 76ers. Harris is very much a player who suffered in the eyes of viewers this season for a variety of reasons, namely because of the fact that he was given a max contract last summer and has never shown the ability to justify earning that kind of money. This frustration over his contract with Sixers fans is pretty valid. However, to be fair, he is still a solid player at the power forward position, even if he's not the star that they hoped he could become. He puts up about 20 points per game on a relatively good efficiency, shooting 47% from the field and 37% from 3, and he can create his own offense in the mid-range game. For him to both help himself out and the team around him, he needs to improve his three-point shooting and embrace taking more attempts from deep, because the spacing on the Sixers right now is just a bit of a struggle. Next up at number 9, we have Zion Williamson of the New Orleans Pelicans. I'll admit Zion was the toughest player to rank on this list because in the very limited game action we saw of him this year, he had some incredibly high highs, but also some disastrously low lows. Offensively, Zion is a force to be reckoned with, who has the otherworldly strength, agility, and hops to overpower defenders in getting to the rim and creating mismatches all over the place. But defensively, especially in the bubble, he was a bit of a mess. At times, he proved to be a liability on that end, and moving forward, he absolutely needs to focus on getting into better shape and potentially cutting a few pounds because his longevity could be something to worry about. He definitely has the potential to one day be one of the best players in the whole league, but it's way too early to crown him like that now. Next up at number 8, we have Danilo Gallinari of the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder were one of the NBA's biggest surprises last season when they made it to the playoffs, and while Chris Paul gets a ton of the credit for this turnaround, Gallinari is someone that brought top-tier production and always seems to fly under the radar. He's a consistent 19-point-per-game scorer who shoots over 40% from 3, and provides a reliable secondary scoring option both inside and out. He's been a very good player in this regard throughout most of his career, so because of this, he's rewarded with a spot on this list. Up next at number 7, we have Jaren Jackson Jr. of the Memphis Grizzlies. Jaren is one of the most underrated young players in the NBA right now, and he especially tends to get outshined by teammate Ja Morant, but his production is equally as important to them on both ends of the floor. When you think about the versatility of players in today's NBA, Jaren perfectly exemplifies that, as he's a stretch four that shoots threes at a near 40% clip, he has a steadily improving ability to handle the ball and attack the basket with it, and defensively, he's a highly impactful rim protector. He needs to work on his rebounding a bit, but all in all, he's got a bright future that should continue to rise up this list over time. Next up at number 6, we have John Collins of the Atlanta Hawks. Collins' ascension in his 3-year career so far has been pretty unbelievable, because on top of the explosive athleticism that he's always possessed, he's becoming increasingly more skilled and balanced all around every year. He averaged about 22 points and 10 rebounds per game last season, while shooting 58% from the field, but what stands out most to me is how far his 3-point shot has come, as he shot a very impressive 40% from deep on decent volume as well. He's a phenomenal fit next to Trae Young, and the two feed off of each other very well in the pick and roll, and now with his improving jumper, he can help space the floor alongside Clint Capella in the front court. Now, to start off the top 5, we have Domantas Sabonis of the Indiana Pacers. In the absence of Victor Oladipo, everyone else on the Pacers needed to step up, and Sabonis absolutely answered that call. He was named to his first All-Star game this year because of how exceptionally well he played, and his production of about 19 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists per game show just how versatile of an offensive player he is. He's one of the best passing bigs in the league, he's a force in the paint, and he has a solid face-up game as well. Up next at number 4, we have Kristaps Porzingis of the Dallas Mavericks. Porzingis came back after an ACL tear this season, and after a bit of a slow start, he began to look like his former All-Star self as the season went on. He put up about 20 points and 10 rebounds per game, he was able to space the floor beautifully with his 3-point shooting that is always incredible to watch as a player who stands at 7'3", and alongside Luka Doncic, they led the Mavericks to one of the most historically great offenses of all time according to the numbers. It was good to see him back out there playing well, and now with his health being back in check, he could become even better by next year. Next up at number 3, we have Pascal Siakam of the Toronto Raptors. Siakam's regular season went so well, and he really did manage to elevate his game even further after winning Most Improved Player last year, having put up 23 points, 7 rebounds per game as well, while being the go-to scorer for the Raptors team that finished in 2nd place after being written off by some when Kawhi Leonard left. He put himself nearly at the top tier of talent at this position with all of this, but I'd be lying if his performance in the playoffs wasn't a bit worrisome. His playoff averages dipped across the board, his efficiency tanked down to 39% from the field and only 19% from 3, so if he wants to maintain a strong rating like this, he will need to bounce back in a big way next year. Up next at number 2 now, we have Anthony Davis of the Los Angeles Lakers. The top 2 players on this list are easily in a tier of their own, and Davis definitely did everything he could to put himself neck and neck with the player we have at number 1, but as I will explain after this, it wasn't enough in my view. Davis' season with the Lakers, however, could not have possibly gone any better, having finished on top of the league as champions, and it answered a lot of questions about himself and the team from the start of the year, and justifying them trading for him. He's a dominant two-way beast that fits perfectly alongside LeBron James, and now he's a champion. And finally, at number 1 on this list, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks. Yes, the Bucks season ended earlier than it probably should have when they got beat by the Heat in the 2nd round, but Giannis's otherworldly production, along with the fact that he just took home both the MVP award and the Defensive Player of the Year award, is definitely still enough justification for him being number 1. He put up about 30 points, 14 rebounds, and 6 assists per game this season, which is just unheard of. And despite the jumper still being something that holds him back a bit in the playoffs, he's still the top power forward in the NBA. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below how you would rank the players at this position. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.